Hello, Frank.
Hi, John. Hi, good.
Just a quick one first. Christian Pulisic, what's the latest on his fitness?
Yeah, Christian had a scan yesterday, which showed a very, very minor injury to his hamstring. Very minor. So he's already back outside. Won't be fit for tomorrow, but we'll see after that.
Edouard Mendy up against his former club. How much credit does he need to take for your defensive improvement?
Well, it always must be a collective of the team, the squad, and the work that we do. But of course, when you come in and perform individually as he has, he's made a very, very good start to his career here with us. Shown his qualities that we brought him here to the club for. Has brought confidence to those around him. So she should take credit alongside others.
Moose at Talk Sport, please.
Hi Frank, how are you doing?
Hi Moose, good.
I just wanted to ask you where you think you're placed at the moment in the group after a couple of games. Obviously delighted being unbeaten, and obviously the fact that the last 3 games clean sheets, have they been the most important thing for you almost?
Yeah, I think well in the group we're happy. Seville was a tough match at home, probably a fair result for both teams, and then we go and get a good result in Russia. So there's still a lot of work to do to make sure we don't get complacent at this point, because we know that if Rennes come and get any form of result at our place, it changes the face of the table. So we must stay on top of ourselves. And the recent clean sheets have been great. Yeah, it's obviously something that we were looking at. I always look at that side of our game. We know we wanted to improve it from last season, and then I certainly analysed the specific reasons why we weren't as good as we wanted to be. So we've seen some progression in that, but that has to remain a work in progress. We can't come off that. The focus and concentration of the team has been great. It needs to stay that way.
John Cross, Daily Mirror.
Hello Frank, good to see you. Hope
Hi,
you're
John.
well. I was just going to ask you a little bit more about Edouard Mendy, if I may, just facing his former club. I mean, he's made such a positive, strong start. What's he like as a personality? Because he seems to exude a certain confidence, which gives the defence a reassurance. Makes good saves as well. But there's a personality there as well, isn't there?
Yeah. When we were in to look to sign in Edu, we obviously made the inquiries, and Peter Cech was heavily involved. I think that's pretty common knowledge. So all the feedback was that he had a great personality, a strong personality in the dressing room, and everything that I heard, all those positives have came true. He is very low maintenance. He works hard, wants to work more, eager to engage with his teammates, engage with myself, smile on his face, and has played well. So yeah, no, it's a real positive when you have a player that comes in and hits the ground running on the pitch, but also is a real positive in the dressing room, and he's been that.
Ian Bolton, Sky Sports News.
Hi, thanks.
Hi.
Another one on Edouard, if I may. 5 clean sheets in his 6 matches, just 1 goal conceded. Peter Cech was speaking about him just a few days ago, saying that Mendy is not even at his best. These aren't the best performances that we'll see. Where can he improve as a player?
I think you should have just kept directing those questions to Pete. He's very good on goalkeepers one-on-one. Listen, I don't want to get into where he can improve. I think what he's shown so far has been very complete. Those clean sheets have shown big parts of his game. He's made saves in moments in games that have certainly helped us. And if the goal had gone in, the games could have gone the other way against us. Manchester United, I think particularly the first half save against Rashford with his feet was a really top-class save. He's given off a sense of calm in his distribution and his coming for crosses and things that you just want from your goalkeepers, and he's done that. So listen, I'm sure he'll improve. I think when Pete says that, he's talking about the fact that it's really early days for him at the club. He's settling in still to a degree, but again, I'm not trying to play this down though. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because it's been a really good start for him. I'm very confident in him. He's shown great qualities so far. I think there is going to be a lot more to come, and with his attitude, which is key, and I've seen how he wants to work and how he wants to be, the humility in him, I think he can go much further in many departments.
James Robson. James Robson, unmute yourself, please.
Sorry. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
We've seen how competitive this season is. Just the very fact you're playing Champions League every week, midweek at the moment. I just wonder how realistic is it for any team, in the Premier League in particular, to be able to mount dual challenges for both the title and the Champions League? Because even with a big squad, it's so taxing.
Yeah, I think that's always a big challenge for top clubs, because in normal seasons, normal times, I think it's demanding on a squad to play as regularly as we are, and now that's even tighter. So hence why I think a lot of managers now, particularly managers that are involved in Europe, are calling for more subs in the Premier League, because we know these demands can take the players to places where they're in a real injury risk. So there are factors around it, but I don't want to dwell too much on that. We have to deal with what's in front of us. We do have a pretty fit squad at the moment, and it's important that we just concentrate on ourselves game by game at the moment, because of where we're at, because we are in a bit of a process where we have brought new players in and we're striving to improve in every game. So I enjoy using these games to get better if we can. We've seen nice uplift in different parts of our game recently. But yeah, over the course of the season and in this early group stage with how many Premier League games are, it's very taxing on the players, but we have to do the best we can.
Nick Pewell.
Hi Frank, just on Christian, is it a relief for you and him that it's not a serious injury, and are hamstring issues for pace players, are they just part of the course, or is there something more that you and he and the medical team will look at?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a relief for the injury to be on the small side. It felt like that to Christian, but he made the right decision in not attempting to play a game, because that could have made it worse. So yeah, it's clearly a relief that hopefully we'll have him back very soon, because he's an important player for us. With the actual muscle injuries, that's a hard one to call. It's forever going to be a challenge. Some players that had play on the edge, have such speed in their game and acceleration, maybe it can be more susceptible. I don't think that's a one-fits-all answer, because it's different for everybody. From last season, we were looking at ways of managing Christian and just trying to be proactive and not hopefully getting so many injuries. I know it's something he'd experienced previously in his career at Dortmund as well. So we're all working in the same direction on that one, to try and get him to be as fit as regularly as possible, because we know the talent.
Tony Banks.
Hi Frank.
Hi Tony.
I just wanted to go back to the question about the schedule and the intensity of the schedule for a minute. I know you're talking about the possibility, the difficulties of challenging on 2 or 3 fronts, but I was just thinking about the long-term effects on players. I noticed Guardiola talking about this the other day, saying how tough it is for players at the moment, 3 games a week, every week, no chance of a break. Obviously you can rotate. Are you worried about the overall sort of medium to long-term effect on your fitness of your players?
Yeah, I think we are. Well, I am, because I also understand what missing a pre-season does, and when the short turnaround and a couple of weeks off and not having a base, normally that base is a month to 5 weeks, sometimes a bit less, but I was aware of it as a player when I came back from tournaments. If pre-season was short, it could either affect the start of my season or it could hit me later on in the season, and I think we're certainly in that predicament with the players now that they've had this lack of pre-season. They're now being thrust into game after game. As I say, at Chelsea we do have a squad here. It's my job to balance getting some consistency in selection, particularly if we are in good form, but also making sure that the squad stays as fit and fresh as they can, because I know that the demands of the long season are going to be tough. So I think it's something that is being spoken about a lot, and it's not an excuse. It's not a cry from myself or Pep Guardiola or any manager that talks about it. It's just reality, because we see it. We travelled to Manchester last week and back. We travelled to Russia and back. We travelled to Burnley and back. Great, we're doing a job we love, but there are clear physical demands on the players, and that's we're trying to work against that, I suppose, in terms of keeping everyone as fit and fresh as we can for the season.
Sammy Motwell.
Hi Frank. Just on the back of Tony's question, just in relation to Thiago Silva. When a player's towards the latter part of their career, as you were at one stage, how important is managing the training workload? Not necessarily wrapping him in cotton wool, but just making sure that he's fit and 100% ready to go for the weekend and the Wednesday.
Yeah, it's very important, and I think the question I had about Christian Pulisic earlier, And there's a question I got asked about N'Golo Kanté towards the back end of last season a lot. And I think within the squad you try to have standards and levels that you train at, physical work. We gauge every day's fitness work, how much the players have, the input of the players, and we try and balance it out to make sure we have everyone as optimum as we can. And every player is different in their own way. So around the general rule of how we train, whether I talk a lot to the sports science team and they give me some clues of what they see. Some of it is in my eye and with the staff, and then a lot of it is my relationship with the players and speaking to them. And I think particularly when you have an experienced player who's such a great professional as Thiago is, that honest conversation is very easy. And if it means managing training, if it means managing game time, which we did last week with Russia, I'll be very upfront and honest with him in terms of what I think and what he thinks. So we'll do our best, because you're right, I did feel it. I remember at the back end of my career, I remember how I had to change my training programme, so I'll be very open to looking at small tweaks for Thiago.
Andy Dillon.
Hi Frank, can you hear me okay?
Hi Andy, I got you.
Hiya. Two half questions from me, if you like, today. And the first one's a light-hearted one, just following on from your answer to Crossy about Edouard being low maintenance. And I just wonder if you could expand on that for us, please, given that you're now a manager and seeing things from the other side, you know, some of the players knocking on your door every day and that sort of thing. So what's nice about having a low maintenance player and maybe some of the things you've seen since you've been a manager? And then on perhaps a more serious note, I know you're a big advocate for kids to play as many sports as they can up until whatever age and get involved. And I just wonder what your view is on the fact that, you know, grassroots sport has been scrapped during lockdown. Without getting too political, I just wonder what your gut feeling as a sportsman is, please.
Yeah, I mean, when I say low maintenance, I mean I probably, and I'm not trying to compare it to other players, especially not out loud to you. Not out loud to you. I think no. What I've seen in a short period of time with Edouard is a player that has a massive work ethic to train and push himself every day. And when they're keepers, they're slightly separate from the main squad sometimes. So a lot of that is feedback that I get from the coaches. And I've had that feedback with the other goalkeepers before you start going down that route. But what's been nice is that he's shown that work ethic. He smiles every day. He's not asking a million questions, but he's asking enough questions which are really relevant, little individual things about his relationship with the players around him on the pitch, things I love, players to engage with each other. So I've really enjoyed that positive side of his engagement. And he hasn't knocked on my door much. Maybe hasn't had a reason to. So that's fair play. But I just sense that from him, which is nice. And the squad generally is low maintenance. And if sometimes moments where they have to come and speak to me, that's football as well. Every player will be different. And I'm not saying that coming and talking a lot is a bad thing. Sometimes that can be positive if it suits your personality. It seems his personality is pretty laid back with a tough edge when it comes to work. The second question is obviously a deeper issue, and I'm a massive advocate for young children playing all sorts of sports. So I don't want this to come to sound like I'm going against that, but in unprecedented times we are relying on the government and the scientists and the people in charge. So I think I would be probably stupid to jump into the political argument too much, rather than to say if it can be done in a safe and careful way for the children involved, for the families involved of the children. We know that schools have remained open. If it can be done, and we have to strive in every way we can for it to be done in a safe way. I think for physical health, for mental health, for families that have children that are sitting at home, we must strive to do it as much as we can if it can be done in a safe way.
Okay, last two, then we've got to go. David Heitner and then Matt Law to finish. David. You there, David?
Hi, Frank.
Hi, gotcha.
Hi, Frank. We often talk about Burnley away as a kind of a very typical English challenge, almost like a testing ground in a way. I just wondered what Mendy and Thiago Silva made of that challenge. And from your side, you know, keeping a clean sheet in such an impressive win, what you sort of take moving forward in terms of defensive security from that?
Well, I think with Edu and Thiago, we always give as much information as we can, and there are two players, as I sort of touched on Edu there, that are thirsty for information. You know, particularly I know with Thiago, I was speaking a lot in the week about the style of game that Burnley would be. He was very interested to hear it, which shows me a top professional want to prepare to the smallest detail, and he did. And I just thought they dealt with the game very well, both in their individual ways, and it was a good game from both of them and the team. in terms of the result, yeah, I mean it's always a difficult place to get a result, particularly a convincing result, because normally the direct nature of the game at times can mean that there will be threats around your box, and we negated those in a big way. But as I said after the game, it's very important to have perspective. I had perspective when we have maybe had lesser performances and dropped some points this year, and I'll keep perspective when we have a very good performances and win comfortably. There's a lot of work to be done. It was a nice side of our game that we showed, actually, both with the ball and without it. But we are still trying to improve. So it's the bigger thing for me is the confidence for the team to feel the way they play, to feel the security of not being too much under pressure in our own box, and to feel the comfort and passing options we had throughout the game. That was a big thing for me. We need to carry that forward.
Last question, Matt Law.
Hi, Brent.
Hi, Matt.
Dillo stole my thunder a little bit, but if I can go back to his question about the kids, because our paper's actually launched a campaign about trying to keep kids active in lockdown. I just wondered, sort of, as a father, elite sportsman, and now head coach, do you worry about the impact all of this is going to have on a generation of kids, and both mentally and physically?
I do worry, and that's because it's a tough time. And as you say, I'm a father, and I think on the bigger answer to your question about keeping sports and facilities around in this next month, say in the short term, is a tough one, because I don't know all the data behind it. But I also do know that if we, as a parent, you can affect it as much as you possibly can, which means if you can remain active, if you can encourage your child to be active in this tough time in a safe way, of course, and work with them and take them to the park, or if you have outside space that you can use it, then I think it's a great thing to be able to do. I was very fortunate. I had a sporting family that it naturally seemed to happen for me. I know that not everybody has that circumstance around them. But I would, as I say, just to go back to what I said, Matt, and I don't want to feel like I'm being too general about it, but I would really encourage if we can find a way to keep children active, but it does have to be done in a safe way, because we're somewhere we've never been before. So I hope that we can find the right solutions, and I think it's a great cause that your paper has taken up to try and make it at least a loud conversation, that we try and do our best to keep children active, so we don't see a long-term issue coming back from it later on in these young children's lives.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gents.
Cheers all. Thank you.
And when you're ready, Moose, please unmute yourself and fire away.
Hi, Timo.
Hi.
I just wanted to know whether or not the start you made at Chelsea was even better than you would have thought when you arrived at the club, because you seem to have taken to English football and scoring goals just like you have at every other level and every other place you played. I just wondered whether or not you could just talk about when you came to England, whether you thought you obviously hoped, whether you thought you'd start as well as you have.
Yes, I think the first 10 games now for Chelsea were really good for me. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the British football, or the football in the Premier League. It's like I thought before, it's different to the German football, because in the way we play, in the way how the strength is in the league, and but I'm very happy until now. It makes a lot of fun to play here. It makes a lot of fun to play with the guys. We have a good team. I think you saw now that when everybody is fit and gets fit and come out of quarantine and come out of injuries, and we play and train now since 2 months together, you see that we become a very good team. We know the ways from each other. We learn it much more than 2 weeks ago, and I think for me it makes a lot of fun to be here. It makes a lot of fun to play my first games, and when it will go on like this, the next games would be perfect.
Let's go to Ian Bolton.
Hi, Timo. Do you feel comfortable in English football? Do you feel at home in English football?
Yes, of course. At the beginning, it's always when you come to a new country, to come in a new league, to come to a different style of football, it's always something different. But now I think I'm here in the league. I know how to play. I know what ways are better for my game, are better for my team, are better for my teammates, and I feel very comfortable now, and I hope it will go on like this.
John Cross?
Hi Timo. I was just going to ask you, you've obviously played in the Champions League before with your former club. You know what it takes to reach later rounds and drive on to be successful in this competition. Does Chelsea have the sort of squad and the depth of players to go deep into this competition, do you feel? They're well suited for a good European campaign this year?
I hope so. I think, the time now is every team who plays international play every 3 days, and I think not only we as a team, I think only every team who plays in the Champions League or in the European League and plays on Saturday and Wednesday, Saturday, it's difficult. But I think we have a big squad. We have a really big squad of good players. That's not normal. I think we have so many players and so many good players, and I think with this we have the goal to come very far in this competition, and I think we are not here to say, okay, we want to come in the next round and then we will see. No, we are here to win in the next year the Champions League, and this year is also a good chance because everybody in the competition has a lot of games this year, and every team have to think about how can I manage it, who can I play, how many games can a player play one game after one game. And for me, I think we had a good chance this year, but also in the next years. And I'm, like I said when I arrived here, I want to come here to win titles, and of course we also want to win titles this year, and we are on a good way. Like we learn from each other, like we learn how we play together, and when we can get on this, we have a good chance to come very far in this competition.
Let's go to Molly.
Hi Timo, I know you're one of a number of new faces at the club. Obviously Edouard Mendy's come in. I just wondered what he's been like as a teammate. How has he settled in? Because I think Frank said he's quite a laid-back personality.
Of course. I think until now, Edu is a really nice guy. You can talk really easy to him. He's really calm, and makes a lot of fun to play with him. And on the other side, I think we have a lot of French-speaking player in our team who plays now a long time here, and can help him very much. Like for me, this is for Antonio, who can speak German and plays a long time here in the club. So I think it's easy for him to come in the club, because at the first we have a lot of players who speak French, but on the other side, I think the team is very, very easy to come in. There are a lot of young guys which are very, very nice and calm, that you can settle in very well and very fast.
Let's go to our French colleague.
Hi, what do you think of this team of Rennes?
I think Rennes is a very good team. They have a lot of talented players, a lot of good players, and they the style how they play. Also last year in the French league, but also now the first games in the competition, they do very well. Of course, it's not easy to play against Sevilla, but I think when you lose 1-0 against a very good Sevilla team, you have a very good team, and it would be very hard for us to win tomorrow, but we are strong enough to beat every team in the world, and so we play at home and want to win the game tomorrow.
Let's go to Nazar.
Hi Timo, do you ever get tired, because you played almost every game for Chelsea so far? So I was wondering, are you tired? You came in at the weekend as well when you were maybe going to have a rest, and I wondered which game you learned the most from as well.
Of course. Some days I'm tired because of the much games I played now, but I do it as well last year. So I think these days it's normal to play so much games. Of course, Every player needs a rest one day, but I think in this case sometimes the national break come to the right point. So that's also good sometimes to rest there. But at the end, I think it's good to play every game, and I have a lot of fun to play every game. So that's no problem for me. And the game I learned most is, it's hard to say because we play against so many different teams. We play against two very good teams in the Premier League, for example, against United and Liverpool, but also the teams from the half of the table below. It's so hard to play because they have so many good players as well in their teams, and they have a lot of good managers who have a tactic who makes us very difficult to score. So every game is a good game for me to learn, because especially when you come in a new country, in a new league, you have to learn every game, and for me so far that I learned a lot in every game.
Let's go to Simon.
Hi Timo, excuse me. Speaking about learning, you know Kai obviously very, very well. How do you think he's adapting to the Premier League? Are you sensing he's getting stronger and stronger with each game, and how much have we still to see from him and what he can produce on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think I know Kai very well, and I think he's one of the most talented player in the whole world. I think he's a young boy with 21 who can learn a lot, but already play like a very, very old and how do you say?
Wise.
The player, and I think until now I think he feel very well here. He's a little bit like me. We talk a lot about settling in, and he's very happy to be here. And I think also in a lot of games he showed what his strength is, what he can bring into the team. And for Kai it's very important to score, but I think in how you can see in his games, he's much more than scoring goals as a midfield player. He plays a lot of key passes, he plays a lot of movements he makes for other players, and he's very talented and so good until now. And I think he will get better and better every game. He's the same like me. He come also in a new country, new language, new style of football, and he have to learn as well. But I think until now he played so very, very good, and we will see a lot of more good games from him.
Let's finish with Matt Nash.
Hi Timo. You came to London back in February with a very good Leipzig team. Obviously scored the winner at Spurs. Was that a big night for you? And do you have happy memories of that Champions League run that you had last season?
Of course, it was not for me, it was for the whole team. In February it was the first time to play in a eighth final in the Champions League. So it was something really special, and in a really, I'm allowed to say, a really beautiful stadium. In a full stadium, when you look on these times, it's something we miss very, very much, and it was something really special because we win the game. We want to win the game, but we want to have fun, and the game was so much fun because it wasn't a game like both teams want to win, but it was an open game. Nobody was scared to attack. And that's the games I love to play because that's the way I like, or how I see football. That both teams want to win, both teams attack, and it was a lot of fun. The month ago.
Thanks everyone. That's all we've got time for today. Thanks very much.
Thank you.